Hello, everyone. This is Eat, Play, Repeat Adam. Or is it just Eat, Play, Repeat nowadays? I don't remember. But I'm making a video real quick because I want to talk about this while just got done with it. So the game you can see in front of you is Game Dev Tycoon. I loved this game. I still do. But it's very old at this point. 2014, so it's 10 years old. Yeah, that should make you feel just so lovely if you're like me. Anyways, so you may be asking, well, why am I showing you the game? What am I talking about? What's going on? Yada yada yada. Actually, no, you shouldn't be, because you should be seeing the title. So yes, these are my ideas for Game Dev Tycoon 2, and some thoughts about Game Dev Tycoon 1. I'm probably just going to call it my concept for Game Dev Tycoon 2. One, this is Chromium based. I found that out because OBS would not capture it through game capture. It told me it was any games made in Chromium have to be recorded using device capture. So, let's start here. This main screen. Okay, if we go to develop a game, there are, and we'll just pick, yeah, we'll just pick something just to start it, right? It does not matter, right? So, let's just start here. Okay, so, why am I pointing when I have my cursor? I'm not used to my cursor being seen. So we have these 3 bars here, right? Okay, these 3 bars, there are 9 of these. Each one represents something different in the process of game development. In this case, it's engine, gameplay, and story. Right? Okay. Also, this needs some rework. Twerking. This whole thing needs a little bit more. Like, if I'm making a dystopian game, or I'm making a kind of game, and I, need to, you're trying to tell me this is most important, this is least important. Make it so instead of these just being solid colors, make them change gradient as you get closer to the correct, or not gradient, but have them fill in more as you get farther along. So if this bar was, if everything was just down here at the very bottom, like that, these would not be black, they'd be grayed out. But as I slide it up, the closer I get to what is the right amount of engine levels for this kind of game, it gets filled up. And once it hits fully filled, it should make a little noise, like a little ding. That should tell you, congratulations, you've hit the right level. Because otherwise, it's just a fucking guessing game. Like, there we go. Like in this exact situation, that's my guess. And also, it's like insane that we can't, like, there should be more stuff than just linear story. It should be, there needs to be a little bit of rework here in these extra features, Instead of just, you can do basic physics and advanced physics. Oh, that might be a mod thing. So let me go ahead and turn off the sound effects. There we go. So, yeah, sure. There should be more. Also, this is another thing. There should be more that you can do with game marketing, especially as the decades go on, right? In the early years, there wouldn't be too much, so you'd just be advertising mostly like electronics, right? Magazines, and then as time goes on, video game magazines start to appear, and like you get stuff like Nintendo Power, and Sega had a equivalent of Nintendo Power and stuff like that. And so you should be, especially if you're developing solely for that console, there should be more stuff, you know, the more interactive way of like getting publicity around your thing. And towards the end of the game, you get YouTube and social media, and so there should be like a marketing department towards the very end of the game that you should be able to get that reaches out to YouTubers and stuff like that. And you have to set policy, but it's just the same kind of thing here. Speaking of, while I'm here, right? So we got marketing. Speaking of, while I'm here, oh, it's not here, but we'll go to this. So, game history, right? It's cool to be able to go back and see all your games, right? But if I go all the way back, here's the first one of these games I made. There are 8 games in this franchise. My in-head reason why this is that is because of like an enhanced version. It did not work out as like it should. But if I scroll over here, so it's like, oh yeah, well, we released this version, right? We released the virtual version, didn't do too well. Oh well, let's try and fix it, and we'll patch it. That's something that should be accounted for. So there should be in this, when I click on game history, there should be a tab, and it says show all games, show series. So if I make 10 sequels to one game, the game should be able to recognize I've made a series, and that there should be perks and things attached to it, and how stale people are of it, and stuff like that. How frequently I'm putting stuff out, because like Street Fighter, for a long time, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, Street Fighter was so popular, they were making a Street Fighter game every flipping year. And that was fine, because there was that demand for that. So if I make, Cyberzone here. If I make a cyberpunk RPG, it blows up, I do another one, and then another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. But the market is wants a lot of RPGs, and like the games are just really good, I should be allowed to make that. But towards the last couple, the tiredness or like the wariness of buying another one should start to take a toll. So that should be a thing you should manage, is, hey, can I put this out, and will people buy it? Are people tired of this? So series need to be a thing. So like Rhythm Flow here. All right, I made this one, did pretty good. I made a sequel. Boom. Made another sequel. At that point, when I've made 3 games, the game should automatically realize this is a series. Even if I don't make another game, it's a series, because there are old series in real games that have been dormant for decades at this point. And so even if I only make 3 games and then I stop, there should be it should be 2 games. As soon as you make a sequel, that should be counted as a series. And so the game should recognize that and have it there, just so I can be like, when I go make a sequel, develop a sequel, I press the button and it asks me, do you want to make a new game, or make a sequel, or do you want to make a brand new IP, or continue developing an IP? That's something you should do. So that way, damn, that game really did. Oh yeah, that's why. So that way I can. So it's easier to find. So that way, do I want to, develop a sequel? Do you want to develop a new series, or do you want to continue developing a series? There should be a choice there. Another thing, which I'll wait until we get to the end of this, these motherfuckers need to. It feels like it takes way too. These guys right here, all my employees, it feels like they get tired way too often, and so I have to send them on vacation constantly. That sucks. Also, MMOs like, no matter what I do, even in the past when I've made really, really good MMOs that were like, 3 10s and 1 9 in this game, I have, immediately, immediately you lose money, and that's not realistic. Like, yes, if you run an MMO and you don't update it, you're eventually more than likely going to run out of money. But like stuff like RuneScape still exists, and they're running it, and yes, I'm sure there's updates and things like that, and ways to pay more money, but they still run. WoW still runs, and so there should be ways. It shouldn't be as quick as it is for MMOs to literally run out of money. Either I have to constantly be developing expansions, or I have to develop an expansion, make a new game, develop an expansion, make a new game, just like that. And when I make that new game, by the end of it, the MMO has become completely unprofitable. Another thing is up here. You see the time. I play on the extended time. It feels like this game goes by way too fast. Even with the extended end date, it feels like it's just zooming. Now, that's also due to the fact that, this game released in 2014, something like that. So, that is a thing about it. That is a consequence of it. It is old. But they have ported it, even not that long ago, to, like, Switch. So, I feel like they need to, like, have a speed option. Like 1, 2, 3, and if they need to like slow down the pace. And now we're gonna move over to another thing here on this screen. There's so much stuff I could just talk about right here. But another thing is, okay, so like I was talking about in game dev, there's 9 different sliders. Each one represents something else. When you get to the part where you research over in the R&D lab, AAA games, it says, hey, you may want to get specialists for each category. It says you probably want to have specialists for each category. There are 7 people here, including myself. There's 9 categories. So even if we weren't to add more, like individual teams, we need at least 2 more people. So I can properly do that. Now you may go, well, they're doing that so you have to move people around. No. I don't like it. I mean, yes, that's right. That gives it more of a challenge, but there's a better way to do it. And I think a better way to do that would be, instead of just this, actually have me build teams of people, right? So, you start in your garage, then you build up in your garage, and you hire your first 4 employees. Kind of looks like this in the garage. Or you add more levels to the progress. So you go from the garage to a small office, like a really, really small office, to like the middle of the road office that's already in the game. Sorry, all of a sudden I'm getting this pulsing pain in my neck. And then from that middle of the road office, there should be another one, and then the big office. This big office. Or, if we're only going to have 3 offices, add more people. Like, have me have a true, like, office. Let me build the team, right? Because that makes, that's more interesting than managing 6 people plus myself. Let me legitimately build a big team, hire in new staff. Let me have to worry about, designers and artists, concept artists, musicians, and let my employees, like, we got Evan Alexander here, right? Or Heather Fleming. Let them, when I create a game, hey, who's going to be the project lead, right? Let them get, famous, like, Kenji Inafune, is it? I can't remember. Kenji Inafune? I think it is. Shigeru Miyamoto, Satoru Iwata, Matsuhiro Sakurai, Tim Schafer? Yeah, Tim Schafer. Neil Druckmann. My brain is just paused. Hideo Kojima. There was one more. Okay, literally, famous game devs from Google, the AI overview. Okay, Shigeru Miyamoto, Hideo Kojima, John Cormack. Don't give me studios. Why would you... Here. So Shigeru Miyamoto, Yuji Naka, that's who I was thinking of earlier. Sid Meier, Satoshi Tajiri, Hironobu Sakaguchi, Marcus Pearson, Notch, Shinji Mikami, Hideo Kojima, Ron Gilbert, John Cormack, and many, many others. Ed Boon, Will Wright, Yuji Naka, Masahiro Sakurai. Yeah, like I said, there are tons and tons and tons of devs who got famous even within internal studios, right? And, so let my team, Evan Alexander here, let him gain notoriety, right? So if I make him, lead programmer, lead artist, lead musician, right? If the games are really good, right? And their skills good, they should get notoriety. And also let me deal with people leaving, right? So you gotta balance happiness of your team and growth and everything. But people do come and go, right? So let people leave. And, let me continue to hear about their story. Oh, Evan Alexander, he was the lead designer and, this great designer for my racing series, but he left. And then I see some events about how he's with Bulldog Entertainment, and he's helping them develop a new racing series, right? Stuff like that. That can really help, the tycoon, this of it, the sim part of it. That can really help immerse it more. So that's something to do. R&D and the budget and the hardware labs, they both need more added to them. Because after a while you just do that. You just turn them off and don't even think about them. Did I make it? Oh, I actually made money on that. Because why would I? I mean, with the, hardware lab, yeah, they need to stay around if you have a console so you can, flip in, do repairs, but there should be a repair division for that. I hit finish. I'm also playing this modded because mods make it better than the base game. Another thing is this. So competitors, right? Competitors are not in the base game. There absolutely should be competitors. This is a mod, so I can't comment on this. But this should be in a mod. For me to way to go, hey, what's Obscure Entertainment done? Let me look at their, Also, flashing warning. Yeah. Flashing warning. My ultra wide does not like this game. But let me look at their games. Let me look at their series. Let me see what they've done, right? Let me buy the company or negotiate a partial buy-in, or let me invest in, a portion of the company if I'm big enough. I don't know why there's a sabotage. I don't really. That's one thing I don't understand. Settings, yeah. If I own the flipping company, flashing warning. Let me rename them, sell them, merge them. Stuff that kind of stuff. Add more to that. That's something that should be done. Um, Contract work. Honestly, this is another thing where like pretty quickly it's just worthless. It's something good at the beginning of the game, but it's kind of a worthless thing. So either after you leave your second, or if you, I really want them to add 5 offices. If you leave after you leave your second or third office, this should go away, because at that point you're doing so much game work. You're making so much money from your games that you can just, yep, fine, whatever. Um, you know, um, you can just, it's just not worth it, because you're doing so much game work that and making so much money from the games you develop as a studio that there's no reason for you to continue to do contract work like this, unless it's like specifically tailored to like help develop an engine, right? And there should be more added to. I'll just go here and say there needs to be more added to this engine, more complexity as like the decades go by. Like, have this stuff be more accurate to each decade, right? Maybe break down the game into decades instead of just years. So the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s, and I honestly think you should give us a choice of when to start, because there's a whole dynamic range of the video game industry. There's the very early days with there's the very early days with the Magnavox Odyssey and like just the Pong consoles. That's the first gen. I wouldn't really say that's a very interesting place, because all you're really going to be doing there is making Pong consoles and stuff like that. So I think we should start a few years before that. Probably start in 1975, something like that. Starting like 1975, have us be an arcade developer. Give us a choice to develop for arcades, right? And then develop for Atari, deal with the early legal challenges of the video game industry, and just go from there. See if we can last. And sometimes you don't, and sometimes you get bought up. There should be a mechanic where if you go bankrupt, it's not necessarily the end of the game. Maybe you get bought out. Maybe your purchase gets split up. There should be something. Or your founder or members of your team come together and go found a new company and become the successor company. That should be something you should be able to work with. It's not here. That should be here. That's all I'll say. Also, this mod doesn't do it, but if I own a company, they should be only developing games for my console if I own that console. Or I should tell them, or there should be an option there to be like, hey, do this. Develop for only my console. Or, hey, you're my PC division. Or you're my, where I make games, right? And give me a lot of control over them. Maybe, make them like a front. Not really a true studio anymore. They just kind of exist for my team to go and make games for other platforms and still kind of put out other work. That's something that would be cool. But yeah, this should be decade sensitive. Your engine, and we keep going to version 7 for 3D graphics. There should also be a farther advancements for 2D graphics. And speaking of things that need real improvement, before I forget about this, on the games, it feels like to me, I don't know this is true, but the only chance that if I make a game right now, the only chance that that game will be good at all the only chance that will be good is if I beat my previous record for technology design points. That's not how that works. If I develop a I develop a game, right? If I develop a a rhythm game series, yes, I'm going to beat my my design and technology points. Will eventually like get past what it is, but eventually you get to a point where you have the perfect baseline, and what you're just doing then is refining visuals, timings, stuff like that, which is not very conductive to that design and technology saying those should go away. The metric of the game, there should be a different metric to show progress in development of a game, not just, hey, our technology and our design philosophies have advanced beyond what they were. We've entered a new era. Ha ha. Instead, now it's, hey, if I'm developing a game, I need to get past 500, 600, whatever design and technology points it was. Because, yada, yada, yada. That really limits it. And that kind of kills it. That kind of kills some of the fun. But another big one is, do you see all these options right here? No, actually you don't, because I'm kind of blocking you. So obviously we should still be able to create an engine. There should be an option for us to license an engine, so we should be able to license Unreal. That's just something to talk about. Contract work, I already talked about that. Game history, develop new game, that's fine. This is fine. A staff list, perfectly reasonable. This staff list is where I should go to train my staff, not click on them and do this. It should just be here. I go here, I click on staff list. I should get an option to develop my staff. But it's this one. Find publishing deal, right? Why is no one wanting to develop for my system? Okay, that's stupid. If, this, again, is another thing where it just sucks, right? Because for some reason, it always happens when I get a publishing contract, it just sucks, it fails, and I always get underneath it. No matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to nail it. And it's happened for years. And I've played this game for years, modded, not modded, different mods. I should be able to find like the sensible pattern to have this work. But instead, it just doesn't. That needs to be fixed. Publishers need to be fixed more. So Codemeister's here. If I take this game for them, I develop this game, I do good, Codemeister should come back to me and be like, hey, if the game sells a lot, they should be like, hey, we want a sequel. You want to do a sequel? And offer me a renewing contract. There should be a much wider dynamic to publishers. You should even get offers to be bought out by bigger video game companies. And, that makes sense, especially in modern times. Xbox, I know I'm stumbling a lot. I'm doing this off the top of my head because it just came to me that I should do this. But this needs expanding. There's so much stuff that's so good, but it needs more. It needs more refinement. The flaws need to be chipped away. And, I love this game, and I'm supportive of Greenheart Games. I wouldn't own the game twice. I own it here, and I own it on my phone. I might also own it on the Switch if I didn't think that they could make good games. But it's been a decade. Let me... ...2012, I was saying 2014 earlier. Oh no, it's been a decade. it has been actually over a decade. It's been since 2012. It will have been 13 years between this game's release and the release of Tavern Keeper. I remember Tavern Keeper being announced. I remember the early screenshots. I'm not like religiously following it, but I remember those things. I remember them existing. They don't exist. I bought this game actually 3 times. Once on phone, once on Steam, and once before there was a Steam page, I bought it directly from them. Yep. So, I have the right to say that I'm concerned because it took them a decade to make Tavern Keeper. And I like this game. I like Tycoon games. I want another one of these. Just like I would love the idea of a comic book Tycoon game. I don't have the brains to develop games. I'm going to try and learn how to program in GD script and Godot, but I don't have the brains, and it's going to take a long time. And these guys already have a pretty good baseline. They already have a pretty good series. It just needs to be refined. And I hope they do that, because this is worth it. There's a lot of stuff here that just needs improvement. We need more consoles. We need more companies. We need the game to feel like it takes longer, not go by so fast. We need more staff. We need better management of staff, better implementation of staff, better growth, better publishers, better contracts, everything. And I play it modded because they add a lot of the stuff. Also, another one, this needs to be reworked. The topics, it needs to be reworked. So there needs to be more genres, especially as time goes on. And maybe there needs to be a third, thing. Casual, what the hell does casual mean? Because that's crystals. That makes me think of a puzzle game. So, stuff like a platformer, that may need to be in here. There's a lot more genres than this. And considering they have updated this thing pretty much every time they've ported it somewhere, they could do more here. It's hard to say. I do know this. This is an incredibly fun game. If it's on sale and you have some extra money, it's worth a try. It's sad that no one cares about it really anymore, and it's not being developed anymore. But, I know I'm talking to the wind. No one's going to see this. No one cares. Oh, nice. Did that make any money at all? No, I lost money on that. Nice. I've never seen this before. This is new. This is an event I've never seen before. We talked to the wind about the things that we want to see happen. I would love a Gravity Rush free, but I won't buy a PlayStation 5. Well, if they do a Gravity Rush free, I might buy a PlayStation 5. I will not lie. But it's important for me to come out to make this thing and this video and talk about my thoughts, because this is a great baseline. Tycoon and sim games are super cool and super fun. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but they are. And maybe there's going to be someone out there who watches this. And yeah, maybe they've been they like this game too, and maybe they'll develop another their own version of this game, or maybe Greenheart Games, the people at Greenheart Games, will see this video and will be like, There's a Game Dev Tycoon video in 2025. What? And maybe I'll see a comment, or maybe they'll announce it, or they'll talk about it. I don't know, but it is cool to talk about the things we love. It is also cool and super honest to talk about how they could be better. And that's the most important thing. You pay money for these things. So whatever you buy, it should be quality. It should be something you truly are invested in. I mean, I bought a Saturn today. It's because I had a Saturn at one point, and I want a Saturn again. I want to get those kind of games. But, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. They're obviously busy people. They're working on Tavern Keeper. They have lives. I don't know how to code. I'm going to try to learn, but I have so many ideas, and I don't know. I guess the moral of this is, here's my crazy ideas, or maybe not crazy, for a sequel to this game. And if you enjoyed this video, thank you. If you made it all this way to the end of the video, thank you even more. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to like. Just thank you. Thank you for coming here and watching my video for as long as you did. And if you're one of the guys or girls or whatever who works at Greenheart Games, I want you to know I am excited for Tavern Keeper. I am excited for it. I'm waiting to play it until it's complete. I hope you don't drop it into early access, because I don't buy things really in early access. I have one game that I have bought early access, and it's Death Must Die. That's a super great game. Maybe I'll stream that or play that. But yeah. And, maybe you guys will leave a comment if you're from, Greenheart Games. Maybe you'll leave a comment and say, whatever you think. Tell me to shut the fuck up. I don't know. But yeah. And if any of this, if you're just a random developer, if any of this makes you think and go, hey, maybe I could make that, please do. We need more incredible, beautiful, awesome people. Because honestly, a lot of the big companies, make shitty things. They cram them full of horrible business practices, and then when we rightfully go, no, I won't buy that, they blame us. Oh yeah, the gamers are just too demanding. No, you just make a terrible product. I'm looking at you, Ubisoft. I liked Avatar's Frontiers of Pandora, by the way, but that game needed a lot of help. So, yeah. Anyways, enough rambling. Again, thank you very much. These have been my ideas for Game Dev Tycoon 2 and my thoughts. I wish you all the best and a happy new year. Bye.